Good afternoon, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Kiko's Freethinkers Forum. This is episode 149, and this is going to be a solo episode. This is a post-election special. I just wanted to give people ideas about what they could be doing to improve their communities post-election and how we can be proactive as opposed to just sitting around waiting for the next election cycle. There are lots of things that we can be doing to improve the process, in my personal opinion. We're going to discuss these. And based on my two Substacks that I recently published, we're going to more or less think these things out together as a group. Please leave in the comments. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to it, tell your friends and family about it. Remember, you can't unthink free thought. There's a lot of information here for everyone to see. We are an independent media channel, so we don't really have a particular agenda when it comes to the political system itself. We're outside of the political system in many ways. We want to encourage people how to think. We try to stick to factual information. We do give opinions here, but they're more or less thought out opinions. I do a lot of research. I put a lot of time into this channel. And so I don't want people to just take it superficial. I want people to take this seriously. I advise people to look outside of mainstream media. Please do. Look outside of mainstream media. Support independent media as much as possible. There's just so many different perspectives that you're not going to get in the mainstream. Mainstream media is pretty much an echo chamber. All these social media platforms are there to kind of keep people in their boxes. And this election is pretty much a microcosm of what people are thinking. I think it's a microcosm of social media in a lot of different ways. And I think once you look at the facts, you need to go outside of those echo chambers and start to realize that there's another world out there, because this election was pretty enlightening and eye-opening in quite a few ways. It wasn't a surprise to me. If you go back and watch episode 146, we predicted that Trump would win this election very easily, that he would win the popular vote, that he would win all the swing states, which end up coming to fruition. So not a surprise here. When you outside of the system, you can see things more objectively. You're not clouded by delusional thought processes. You can just see things for what they are. We're going to really get into the Substack articles, but again, subscribe for free. We're at 1,400 subs. We want to keep that momentum going. Just a lot of information here. Health issues have happened in the family, and so there may not be guests for the next couple of weeks. I may be taking a break from the channel until further notice, but please keep following the channel. Tell your friends and family about it. We will be having clips included on this just to get people up to par with everything. But the first Substack that I want to talk about that I published was Beyond Election Cycles, Proactivity and Citizen Power. And I just want to briefly summarize that Substack. Start ballot initiatives. Start a ballot initiative. It's it can be a strenuous process. You have to get a lot of signatures at the community level. I basically laid out all the steps to starting ballot initiatives here in this particular Substack. There's really a process of filing, review, title, and summary preparation, signature collection, petition submission, and ballot placement. Due to some of this grassroots organizing and work this past election, a lot wasn't discussed election night about the wins that we had, whether you were a Trump supporter, a Harris supporter, a non-duopoly candidate supporter, whether it was Chase Oliver, Cornel West, Jill Stein, Claudia De La Cruz, Joseph Kishore, whoever it may be. RFK, obviously he endorsed Trump already, but he was on a lot of the ballots. Regardless of who you supported, there were important ballot measures that passed on November 5th. Out of 11 abortion-related ballot measures, 7 of them actually passed. So in New York, Maryland, Colorado, Arizona, Missouri, Montana, and Nevada, those state constitutions upheld abortion rights. And a lot of that was kind of lost on deaf ears during election night. There were 146 statewide ballot measures. They range from universal basic income, rent control, minimum wages, marijuana legalization, marijuana-related issues, abortion-related issues, all across the board. there were different ballot measures. In Florida, Amendment 4 narrowly failed at 57.16%. That would have constitutionalized abortion at the state level in Florida. So a lot that went undetected that night. And that's why I'm bringing this stuff up. The city of Dallas, Texas decriminalized marijuana. The state of Nebraska legalized medical marijuana. So a lot of things happened that were not discussed openly in the mainstream media. And in other cities in Texas, there were decriminalization matters of marijuana. I don't have them all written down here, but I'm just catching you up with this information. So number one, start a ballot initiative. Number two, attend local city council meetings. A lot of times these are available to the public for free unless they're closed sessions. Otherwise, they're open to the public. You can go in person or you can go online. You can virtually attend. You just go to the city's site, the respective site. And a lot of times, if you're not even able to watch it live, they have it recorded and archived. So that's another thing you can do. Build a community garden in your neighborhood. Find one near you or grow a personal garden. These are things that we can be doing right now. Gas prices are expensive. Food prices are not going to get any more. They're not going to get any cheaper. So there's some things that we need to be micro savings. My dad has a mantra, save a dime for every dollar that crosses your hand. And that may be a hard thing to do, but it's something that's worth looking into. I know I've been saving every single coin that I can come across right now because we don't know how times are going to look. So just things like that, being proactive, citizen power, I think is important. And I think citizen power is really more so going into the second Substack that I wrote. I wrote it on the 14th of November. I started writing it on the 14th of November, and then I officially published it yesterday, November the 17th. And it's entitled Ross Perot to Citizens United versus FEC, Federal Election Commission, which was a Supreme Court case in 2010, how third-party candidates bill from 2024. An abysmal performance from third-party candidates. 1.7% of the total vote tabulation this election cycle in 2024. I have my reasons for why I think it was going to be this way. I did predict that Jill Stein will get more votes than Chase Oliver, and that did come to reality because, like I was telling you guys before, most of the libertarians supported Trump. They endorsed him. And I gave a whole episode on that 146, and it went a lot into the thought process as to why Trump would win the election. The rest of the Democrats, more of them voted for him than the rest of the Republicans voting for Kamala, which to me, the writing was already on the wall. It's not that hard to figure this stuff out. If you stop watching mainstream media, stop watching mainstream media. It's pretty much propaganda at this point. State-run propaganda colluded with tech companies and news corporations all in one. Just a bunch of bullshit, man. It really is. If you have to look outside of your brand of politics, if you want to find some objective information, look outside of your brand of politics. People have to become more independent minded. Unfortunately, the reverse is starting to happen in some ways. People are retreating back to their old ways. The election's over. The Democrats are frustrated. The liberals are all demoralized. So what do? They're all going over to this new social media platform. I think it's called Blue Sky, one of the two. I think Jack Dorsey actually started that platform. It pretty much looks like Twitter does. So it's a way for people, I guess, to create another echo chamber. You know, they're upset with X, so they're going to Blue Sky or Blueski, however the hell you pronounce it. And the same thing the Republicans did when Trump lost in 2020. They went to Parler, and that didn't pan out too well. Everyone was butthurt. They went to Parler, and the Democrats were just ridiculous. It just shows you, in a way, we made a mockery of these elections. 89 million people didn't even vote this particular election cycle. 89 million people. And people say that a non-vote doesn't have an impact. It does. A non-vote is a vote. People don't believe in this system. And so the question is, the people who are involved in this roughly 155 million votes that are going to be tallied this election cycle, What type of people are those 155 million voters? How did Kamala lose 8 million votes from the last election cycle just 3.5 years, 4 years ago? Supposedly Biden got the most votes of all time, 81 million votes, northward of 81 million votes. So how did they lose this bad? And they got their asses whooped, the Democrats did. We're going to get into that after I do my Substack here, though. Ross Perot to Citizens United versus FEC, Federal Election Commission, how third-party candidates built from 2024. Ross Perot was the last non-duopoly candidate to have a significant swath of the vote, the national popular vote. He didn't have any electoral votes in 1992 or 1996 or 2000 for that matter. I don't know if he ran in 2000. So yeah, in 1992 and 1996, 1992, he had 18.9% of the national vote, which equated to 19.7 million votes overall. And at one point, he was leading in the polling at 40% as an independent. And this is in 1992. And then in 96, he got some of that federal funding because of the success of the 1992. I think he got $29 million funding because of that success that he had in the 1992 presidential election as an independent. So he became a member of the Reform Party. They got 8.4% of the national vote, the Perot ticket did. Not nearly as popular, though, the second time around. Nader, he got 2.9 million votes roughly as a Green Party candidate in 2000. You know, they blamed Nader for Bush's victory in Florida. He won by 537 votes in the 2000 election against Al Gore. So they blackballed Ralph Nader. They basically said that he was a spoiler. And but the point about Nader's campaign ran on a great platform: universal health care, marijuana legalization, a minimum wage increase. He ran on environmental protectionism. He ran just on issues. He ran on very popular issues that people want to see. And for that reason, he got 2.7% of the national popular vote. He had an organization. He had a strong coalition of volunteers. And Ross Perot did too. That was the common link between both of those campaigns and why they were so successful. They had a strong volunteer base, grassroots level. That's the only way you can get that kind of support. There's a lot of support. And also, Nader didn't have as many celebrity endorsements because that's an issue with people who aren't billionaires and people who are outside of the two parties. They don't get these celebrity endorsements. But Perot got Johnny Cash, Jack Nicholson, Steve Martin, Katharine Hepburn, all these A-list people to endorse his campaign. That didn't hurt his cause either in 1992. And Nader, again, he didn't have that celebrity backing, but he had a lot of citizen involvement in his campaign. And he was already a huge consumer advocate from back in the day, you know, with the seatbelt laws and everything else. 46 million fewer voters in the 2000 election, but yet he got more votes 24 years ago than the whole field did this election cycle. And that includes all the independents in the field, all the write-ins, all the third-party candidates. This was a horrible showing. So what do I think needs to happen? I'm just going to read the section that I gave in my particular Substack because I'm going to have to go relatively soon. And I have a subtitle here. It says, Building a Sustainable Third-Party Movement Beyond 2024. Approximately 89 million people, eligible voters, did not vote in this election. Now is the time for third-party candidates to play the long game and build into the future by tapping into disaffected, apathetic, unmotivated, and independent-minded voters. I believe that the first step is to measure the pulse of the people, gauging the level of interest in third-party and independent candidates, building a grassroots volunteer base that conducts door-to-door questionnaires And this is going to be the way to pinpoint these particular residents and citizens. For residents and citizens open to the idea of building a third-party movement, volunteers can create a database of people from a local level. So while you're going door to door getting this information, will people be open to supporting third-party and independent candidates? You're building a database while you're doing that. And how does this become important? You don't have to worry about rushing for signatures. That's a big part of with third-party and independent candidates. They can't even get enough people to get onto the ballot. They can't get enough signatures to get on the ballot. So by already starting now and not waiting a year before the election, you already have these people built into a database. Third-party and independent people cannot afford to just all of a sudden start a year from the election cycle. They have to start right away. This needs to be a perpetual process. That's the only way you're going to build a movement. You can't build a movement sitting in the shadows for a year, 2 years, and then all of a sudden popping up. You can't. It's impossible. And people can say what they want to say. There was no organization that sufficed this particular election cycle. It did not suffice. I don't care what people say. You can't declare a year before an election and start a volunteer base a year before a major election. You can't do that. It has to start way before that. You can disagree all you want. The statistics, the numbers, all the stuff is going against what you guys are trying to do. What you need to do is what I'm laying down right here. What I'm saying here is what people need to be doing now. I'm talking about PSL, Libertarian Party, Green Party, all these different parties, Peace and Freedom Party. I mean, they're pretty much organizations at this point, and that's fine. You can call them political parties, organizations. Start organizing now. Door knock right now. Because there's some of these people didn't even get votes in a single county. This election cycle is crazy. The election map was pretty startling. But I'm going to keep reading. For outreach outside local jurisdictions without volunteer collaboration in neighboring counties, a mutual aid drive should be created to cover expenses such as stamp postage. Facilitating the process for area-wide residents. These people are already non-motivated. So if you get supply the postage for people, if you can't reach them in the county, like if you're volunteering, for instance, send postage to these people's residents and already have the stamp provided. That way they can just put the envelope in the mail and send it back to you, to your physical address. I know this sounds tedious, but I think this is what needs to happen. Not just going onto podcasts and social media platforms. You have to get your ass on the ground. And that's what people didn't do. Yes, I'm calling out everybody. And I may be having these people back on. The plan is to have Jill Stein, Cornel West, Joseph Kishore, and Claudia de la Cruz on together. And we're going to have more or less a meeting on this particular forum because something has to give. For these people to be taken seriously in the future, there has to be a lot more organization. Just to make a point, Chase Oliver declared his campaign officially April 2023, but he actually started an exploratory committee in December of 22. But even then, the strategy wasn't there as far as an organization. They didn't have enough volunteers and grassroots campaigns across all 50 states. They just didn't, because otherwise the results would have been better. I'm sorry, they would have been better. I'm notating people who were working with fewer voters. 46 million people, 46 million fewer voters for Ralph Nader in 2024 years ago, and he's got more votes than the whole field combined in 2024. No excuses. I'm sorry. There's just no excuses. Some of these people got like less than 10 votes on average in some of these states, like ridiculous, abysmal showings for third-party candidates. Full disclosure, I wrote in Cornel West in Tennessee. I wrote him in for whatever that's worth. If you guys want to know how I went, that's how I did. I wrote in Cornel West. I almost didn't vote at all. For example, Tennessee already has a network of people from Libertarian, Green, Constitution, PSL. So you got 4 established parties already: Libertarian, Green, Constitution Party, and Party for Socialism and Liberation, PSL. Third parties must collaborate from the local level to court voters as a united front. If a resident prefers the Libertarian Party over another third party, it is a win. If a resident prefers the PSL or Constitution Party or Green Party over any of the other third parties, it's a win for the movement. That's the way people have to see it from now on. Take the egos out of it. It builds trust with each other. It takes the egos out of the process. There has to be a united front that's built. There has to be an agreement between the third parties that they have to work together. It's kind of like when Spike Cohen came onto the show the first time. He said, even if people don't support the Libertarian, support the Green. If they don't support the Green, support somebody else. You're building support outside of this blue-red team. It's the only way that people are going to build from this point on. People want to blame Citizens United. Citizens United, yes. It didn't help the process for third parties. It was a pivotal moment in campaign finance reform law 2010, Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, one of the most instrumental Supreme Court cases involving free speech and campaign finance law. It basically gave corporations unlimited funds to support the two parties. Dark money, there's no accountability. No one knows where some of these donors are coming from. So Citizens United pretty much etched in stone these issues that were already existing in campaign finance reform. It's not going to change into money's out of the politics, in my personal opinion. We need to have publicly funded elections. As long as you have corporations viewed as people, then the regular people are not going to have any kind of say, in my opinion. And you can see with the lobbying campaigns, they pretty much run DC, the swamp, the so-called swamp. So while people are arguing the personality differences and stuff, liberals are they're all up in arms right now. How can you get Hitler back in office? Just ridiculous types of commentary, Project 2025. I'm sorry, I'm just not there with it. The fear tactics didn't work, man. They didn't. They didn't work on the people. Obviously, no one believed it. You got Joe Scarborough, you have Mika Brzezinski going to Mar-a-Lago to meet up with Trump, basically, because they know he's in office now. So all these media heads and news figures, now they want to save their face. They want to save face now. So we're supposed to believe that this is a Hitler in office now? I mean, give me a break, man. He was already the president. And I know people would disagree with that. But disagree all you want. The people already decided. I mean, this was not a close election. Let me give a couple more comments before we get to some of the actual realities of the election. So that's my advice. Got to build from the local level on. Third parties need constant visibility to be taken seriously. And it needs to start now. Like I said, unless they're recognized as statewide parties, they're never going to be taken seriously. If people just see them there for election cycles, 4-year cycles, no one's going to want to support these candidates. But if they see competitive races locally with some of these third parties and independents, people will start to take notice. That's what's going to happen. The work has not been done. And I think that's where I'm going to be focusing my energy is local, local, local. I do follow the national stuff and the state stuff. Don't get me wrong. If it means me talking more about the statewide stuff and the national stuff to get people's attention, to drive people to the channel, and then we talk about other stuff, that's what we have to do. Don't think that I'm not following all this stuff. We follow all these different avenues. But people seem to be so stuck into the 4-year, 2-year cycles, and that's where the energy is. But if we can even debunk some of the stuff that people hear about those 2-year, 4-year cycles, that will redirect them more into what they can be doing locally. So I advise people to go back and read these 2 Substacks. Again, the titles, Ross Perot, The Citizens United versus FEC, Federal Election Commission, How Third-Party Candidates Build from 2024 and Beyond Election Cycles, Proactivity and Citizen Power. So Oliver, no issue with the launching of his campaign, really. He gave himself enough time, I think, almost 2 years before a national election. But the problem with that, the Libertarians don't have their convention until super late. So you really only have 5 months to actually campaign because you're campaigning against other Libertarian candidates. So by the time they officially choose the candidate, it's in May. So then you have June, July, August. That's not enough time. That's a problem. So even when you run with the third party, you're competing against other candidates within that party. And then on top of that, you're going against the machine, the blue-red machine, the Democrats, the Republicans, the Dempublicans, the Republicrats. They're the same. You can justify all you want. I know I have a lot of liberal supporters that follow the channel and a lot of conservative people that follow the channel. And you guys are team red, team blue. I'm not telling you to switch up on your team. You may end up switching up anyway, because you guys know I'm talking sense into you. But that's not my job. Like I said, people are going to come to their own conclusions. But this is a uniparty. This is one big party. It's a coin. You got two faces to the coin. I'm sorry, that's what it is. You can debate identity politics, everything else, all you want. That's what it is. Before we get to some of this ass whooping really that the Harris campaign took, it was an ass whooping, old-fashioned ass whooping, like I predicted. Cornel West, it wasn't a serious campaign. Launched June the 5th, 2023. Switched up, part of the People's Party, part of the Green Party. Then he created the Justice for All Party. Just not giving yourself enough time. Claudia de la Cruz launched her campaign September the 7th, 2023. Jill Stein, I'm not even going to get into Jill Stein. She created the campaign, I believe. She put her eggs into the genocide. She put all of her eggs into the genocide. That's what it seems like she did. October the 7th, 2023, she launches her campaign. October the 7th, 2023, she launches her campaign November the 9th. A month afterwards, Butch Ware came out of nowhere. And that's not meant to be a pun. But Butch Ware came out of nowhere. Just not serious. Not enough time. Put all their eggs in one issue. They basically there was a social media campaign. The Jill Stein campaign was pretty much a social media driven campaign. All these campaigns, Cornel West, name recognition. But a lot of people still don't know who Jill Stein and Cornel West are. I think people underestimate how much people really follow electoral politics. A lot of people do not follow electoral politics like that. Some of my friends who are hardcore Democrats and hardcore Republicans, they don't know who some of these people are. A lot of people don't know. They don't know that Jill Stein was a medical doctor. They don't know that Cornel West was a philosopher. They do not know this stuff. People assume way too much. They don't know about Claudia de la Cruz's activism background. They just don't. That's where the education is going to come into handy. We have to get face-to-face engagement. It can't be the social media campaign alone is irrelevant if you don't have a volunteer base, door-to-door, old school. And I don't even think phone banking is effective anymore like it used to be, because people used to talk on the phone a lot more, but now I just don't think that's as effective anymore. People have to get out. If third parties want to be taken seriously, it has to get back to boots on the ground. Like Nader did it, like Perot did it, like some of the few successful campaigns did it beforehand. Perot he was a billionaire, so that helped. He funded his own campaign, so it made a difference. He bought TV slots, and he was able to reach a public that way. Third parties don't have the advantage, so they're going to have to do it the old school way. And then social media, I have my ideas about that. We can talk about another time. Let's get to some of these startling statistics. I think they account for 3,113 counties in the country. Technically at 3,071 when I was looking this stuff up. The Democrats are pretty much a coastal party at this point, confined to the West Coast and the Northeast. They are. The Democrats they run the risk of being an obsolete party in 20 years. They do. Third parties have a great opportunity to capitalize on this reality. If we focus on the class war and not the culture war, we have a chance. They let a fake, to me, he's a Democrat in disguise, Trump is. They let a fake populist dude that's a billionaire, they let him connect better with working people than the Democrats. An absolute travesty. This dude is a billionaire from New York that connected better with Southerners that are poor than the Democrats did. Because if you go to Bill Clinton's campaign, he won his home state of Arkansas. He won Tennessee twice. People don't like to bring this stuff up. You go back and look at these maps. Clinton connected with the working class better. It seems like the Democrats are getting worse and worse when it comes to connecting with the working class. Anti-war party, no more. Trump has shifted the Overton window. Republicans are now bragging that they're the anti-war party. Who would ever think? Stop blaming it on gender, racism. That's a bullshit cop-out. I'm sorry, it is. Because the stuff that you guys are saying is not adding up. Look at some of these counties. I'm going to go through a few states and county rundowns, and then I got to go because I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. Kamala barely won Vegas. We're talking about like major city level. Trump won Maricopa County, where Phoenix, Arizona is located. He won the county, okay? Over 2 million votes accounted for. He won that county. It's not just a rural urban thing. And this has a potential to spill over across, like it has spilled over across the country. Trump has made the Republican Party competitive at the city level, suburban level, and rural level. They were already dominating the rural areas. Now Republicans are becoming competitive in the exurbs, the suburbs, and the cities now. They don't want to tell you this stuff. This is the fact. I spit facts. I don't have time for the emotional agenda stuff. People got to get their heads out of their asses. They do. 254 counties in Texas. Kamala won 12 counties in Texas. The Harris campaign won 12 counties out of 254 counties in Texas. 6 counties out of 67 counties in Florida. This is why the reality comes to hit you in the face. Idaho has 44 counties. She won 2 of them. There's 100 counties in Kansas, 105 counties in Kansas. Harris wins 5 of them. There's 87 counties in Minnesota. The Harris campaign wins 8 counties. Okay? The narratives, like all the stuff that people are saying, it doesn't even make sense. The narratives don't add up. Sorry, they don't. 62 counties in the state of New York. Harris wins 17 of them. There are more states where you can count on your fingers what the Democrats are winning versus not winning. And some states, they didn't even win a county. Oklahoma, 77 counties. Democrats didn't win a single county at the presidential level. 55 counties in West Virginia. Democrats didn't win a single county. Washington, they win 11 counties in the state of Washington. Trump wins 28 out of the 39 counties in the state of Washington. Oregon, 36 counties. Democrats win 9 counties. So, like I said, there's a danger here. If they keep improving on these numbers, all they have to do is really cut into the cities. And they're making inroads into the cities. All this talk about like the Nazi party and all this stuff, you know what? If the Democrats keep putting their eggs in that basket, the fear tactics, the racism, the Democrats are just as racist as the Republicans are. They are. But like, miss me with it, okay? Jim Crow Joe, I'm sorry. You guys turned a blind eye to him. This dude was a Dixiecrat. He was a good friend of Strom Thurmond. He was a good friend of Byrd from West Virginia. I don't want to hear it. You guys pick and choose what races you want to support. It doesn't work on people anymore. It's not working. You guys need to start focusing on the issues. That's what is going to start coming down to the issues. If there's a silver lining in this going forward, people are going to start focusing on the issues again, because people aren't doing that anymore. It's becoming reduced to a black woman, a white man. Like we got to get away from that stuff, because these statistics are alarming. Arizona, 15 counties, they win 4 counties, the Democrats. Trump wins 11 out of the 15 counties. Utah, 29 counties. Harris' campaign wins 3 counties. And the counties that they're winning, they're barely winning those. Not even making this stuff up. You can go all across the country, and it's the same story. 13 counties won in Wisconsin. Trump wins 59 of them. 83 counties in Michigan. They win 9 counties, the Democrats. 74 counties, Trump wins at the presidential level. And something else that's not been talked about, the down ballot races. In Michigan, Slotkin beats Rogers in the Senate, but yet Trump wins the presidency. So what does that tell you? Democrats are supporting Trump at the presidential level and voting for other people down ballot. They don't want to tell you this stuff. Kamala was not a popular candidate. It was never close. It wasn't. I'm sorry. You can say all you want. And if you don't want to watch this video anymore, you don't have to watch it. But look, facts don't care about the feelings. 95 counties in Tennessee, they won 3 counties in the state of Tennessee, the Democrats did, at the presidential level. Pathetic. And the third-party candidates, don't even get me started. There were a lot of counties where a third-party candidate or a write-in didn't even win it, didn't even get a vote, or less than 10 or 20 votes, stuff like that. You got to go back to the drawing board and do some of the things I told you about. But like I said, it's the same story. There's no excuses. 99 counties in Iowa. Kamala wins 5 counties. Indiana, 92 counties. Kamala wins 4 counties. Ohio, 88 counties. Kamala wins 7 counties. This was not a close election. I'm sorry. It just wasn't. And like I said, going forward, the Democrats better come up with a better strategy, or they're going to get their asses handed to them even more in these subsequent elections. But like I said, don't trust me. Just keep following the same strategy. Keep doubling down on this shaming the black voters, because if it wasn't for the black voters, the Democrats wouldn't even have the support that they have. So the shaming tactics need to end. And that's where I'm going to close it, because there's really not much to say about it. And we're already past the 30-minute mark anyway. Beautiful people, subscribe to this channel. I think there's a lot for people to learn from this particular election. There's a lot of things that the citizen can be doing themselves. Get off your asses. Stop complaining on social media is not activism. If you're so concerned about us going back to the 30s, or you want to make all these references, then do something about it. Because I'm sorry, the fear tactics are not working. Try something else. Actually be an anti-war party. Actually give a damn about the workers. Stop promising people things and not giving them what they want. Whether it's a minimum wage increase or anything. Whether it's abortion rights, reproductive rights. You had all those years to codify abortion, but you want to run campaigns every election cycle off abortion. People are seeing through it. And like I said, 7 states upheld their state constitutions and protected abortion rights. Things can be done. The citizens have some control. Don't let electoral politics demoralize you, but think about things in a broader perspective. Stop being so damn narrow-minded about things. It may make you feel comfortable right now, jump into like your echo chambers, but you got to step outside of your box. Otherwise, it's just going to be, you're going to have just liberal friends. You're just going to have conservative friends. They want us divided. The ruling class wants us to be divided. And we have to fight against that. Beautiful people, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sorry about ranting, but I'm just so tired of seeing people just so caught up in their emotions and not looking at the reality on the ground. Enjoy the rest of your day, beautiful people. Cheers.